Hey guys, Ian Flanagan here, and on this week's Freedom Friday Mastermind, my sponsor and business partner Pat Hayes has lined up Jay Kinder. If you've never heard the name Jay Kinder, you're going to after this call. What he's done in real estate is absolutely going to blow your mind, and what he's done with eXp Realty over the last 5 years is just mind-blowing. Jay drops so much great information about selling real estate, building teams, and retaining agents, and then scaling your business beyond that. So be sure to hit that like button if you enjoy this video, drop a comment if you have any questions, share this with your team members, and I hope you enjoy the interview.
But let me just kind of share a little bit about this special guest. He has actually failed out of college in 2 semesters. Also, he has sold 531 homes in his best year in real estate, guys. 531 homes. Who wants to learn how to do that, right? I do, right? Number 2 in the world for Coldwell Banker, top 10 worldwide for 5 years in a row. Wall Street Journal number 14 worldwide, co-founder of the NAEA with Michael Reese. Also, he has a rev share organization of over 9,000 agents, and he is living the dream in Puerto Rico. So let's give it up for my good friend, Mr. Jay Kinder. Jay, good morning. Welcome to the call. Are you there, my friend?
Hey, good morning, man. Good morning. It's a kind of a chilly 80 degrees here in Puerto Rico today. So
Oh man, that is hilarious, man. Look, I love that background right there. So now, did you just move into a new house, or I haven't seen that background before, or you?
I moved my desk around, and so that's the back.
Oh,
here.
look at
Yeah, it's
look
not
at
bad.
you.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah, loving it, man. It's great.
Damn. Well, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to come and visit. I know I need to get my butt over there and visit all you guys over there in Puerto Rico. I know you guys are living the life, living the dream over there because you guys are making so much damn money with rev share. You got to go over there to save money on taxes, right? That's a good problem to have. So let's go all the way back. Let's figure out and let's get to know who Mr. Jay Kinder is.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, not a whole lot to it. I mean, my dad bought the Coldwell Banker franchise. He was in real estate, but he was mainly in property management. And I was in his, I remember it, what happened. I was in his office getting paid for mowing yards. And I think I was getting a check for like $400. And this guy was getting a check for his name's Rusty. He was getting a check for like $5,000. And I didn't really know much about the commission side of the business, at 19 years old. But I was like, he didn't look like he did much that day to break a sweat. And so I was asking I was like, what the hell did he do to earn that much money? And he said, oh, he sold this house over on such and such. I said, and he got paid that for selling that house. I said, all right, I need to know more about this real estate thing because I certainly wasn't making that kind of money. And so I ended up, getting my license. Took me 3 times, I think, to pass the test. And then really, I was fortunate to have been standing in the front of the office one day when a guy by the name of Bob Farrell came in. He was a Dale Carnegie trainer. And they did Dale Carnegie training where they would come in for, 8 weeks, and you would go spend a full day with them one day out of the week or whatever. And my dad said, you should do it. So I went to the Dale Carnegie training. That was that was when I read Think and Grow Rich. That was when I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that really kind of changed kind of my whole trajectory, I think, more than anything. And so I got licensed. It took me like 3 months. I finally sold a house. I remember there's an agent in my office that stole my first client from me, and at least tried to steal it from me. And I was like, man, this is a competitive business, right? Even though my dad owned the office, this guy still was trying to steal my client. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And so I ended up, finally selling my first house. And then I just attended everything training wise that I could. I didn't have a sphere of influence. I mean, everybody that was my age was still doing keg stands in college. So there wasn't a lot of people for me to work with. So I had to figure out how to get customers. I think that's, the one thing they don't teach you in real estate school is how do you get customers? And so, I did open houses. I called FSBOs, expireds. I went to a bunch of different training classes and started, just trying everything. And I was fortunate. I'll never forget the first time a FSBO listed with me. I couldn't believe it. Once that happened, once I got one, I knew, okay, I can get another one. And so, it gave me some confidence. Same thing with expireds. I remember the first expired that listed with me, and just working those skills. I think I was probably 19 when I went to my first Mike Ferry event, really learned the scripting and all that kind of stuff and the what to say. And then I guess I just wasn't afraid to fail because I failed an awful lot. And so, in making all those calls, the first year, I think I did 22 transactions. I think the average sale price was like 50,000. Like most of the deals that I did were the deals that nobody else wanted to mess with. And then, again, more training, more courses that I'd gone through. I went to a guy by the name of Roger Butcher that used to travel around, and he had this 30-day marketing plan that he was, and you had this little book that had a sold thing on it, and he would teach you this whole strategy. That was really where I learned about FSBOs. I didn't even know what a FSBO was. I didn't even know what it was. And I remember calling my dad at the break, and I was like, are you telling me that there's people that put signs in their yard that want to sell their house and real estate agents aren't calling them? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is going to be easy, right? So I started calling FSBOs and, got a bunch of no's, but like I said, got that first yes. And a lot of my business was it came from open house. It came from FSBOs. It came from expireds my first few years in the business, and a lot of hustle, a lot of grind, 7 days a week, every Sunday doing open houses, fortunately was able to find a little bit of success. I think I did 39 deals the next year, then 77, then 110. And then I think it went to 233 that next year, which it really exploded. And then, from that point on, it was like 350 plus for probably the next 10 or 15 years.
Wow, dude, yeah. That's crazy, man. Wow. And, that's, whenever you're doing that kind of volume, man, you're definitely making a lot of money. And so, okay. So that was your Caldwell Banker, career. And then I know, take us kind of down the journey about how I've heard the story, and I love hearing the story about how, you met Michael Reese, you guys were on the lake and you had a badass boat, and Michael Reese came up to you and go, dude, Jay, what do you do? And you said, I sell real estate. Yep. And so that's kind of how you and Michael Reese met. And the guys, if you don't know who Michael Reese is, man, you guys need to follow him on Facebook and social media. He's over there living the Puerto Rico dream with Jay, and they're business partners. So kind of share that story kind of with everybody. Yeah. I know that was a big monumental relationship that was founded between you guys, and you guys are still best friends and business partners and living together. And, you guys, co-founded NAEA. So kind of walk us down that journne. Then after that, we'll go to the eXp part.
Sure. Yeah. So I was at Lake Texoma, which, I'd met Mike. We had one college class together. So I'd known who he was, but I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. And he had moved to Dallas and I think he moved to Dallas to actually install cable. One of his buddies talked him into moving to Dallas to install cable. So he was doing that. Then he ended up managing a Bally's Total Fitness. And we ran into each other at Lake Texoma, and I had just bought a 35-foot fountain, which is a pretty good sized boat for a 22-year-old. And, he's like, dude, man, what do you do? And I said, I sell real estate. And he spent the rest of the day just grilling me, asking questions. Then he came to my office and he saw that I was lead generating, and I had like 300 leads like printed out and stacked on my desk. And Mike coming from Bally's, they would have these little, these things that they would put out in different establishments and businesses, and people could fill out for a free gym membership or whatever. And those were his leads. And so he knew about calling leads, and he was like, if you give me these leads and you're making, that much money selling real estate, he's like, I can do it. So he ends up getting, quitting his job. That same weekend, he quit his job that he saw me and, started taking his real estate test. He was licensed, but he had, he asked me so many damn questions, and that's just how Mike is. He goes all in, when he goes in on something. And I, if you ask me, well, what did you do to be successful? I probably couldn't have answered it, because I did so many things that didn't work and a handful of things that did. I didn't really know what I'd done to be successful. And, but because Mike was brand new, it was every step he was taking, he was asking, hey, what should I do next? What should I do next? So even before he had his license, he had the same website that I was using to lead generate. And so he was already getting leads. And so like we could just kind of like the shortcut to success, so to speak. He didn't have to figure a lot of things out, because the things that I knew that were working, he would do one thing right after another, all the way up to hiring ISAs. He did like I think his third year in the business, he did 1.4 million or something like that in gross commissions, which was pretty amazing to me, because, it took me twice as long to do it. And it kind of helped me kind of formulate how I would help any agent in the future that wanted to, because we were always helping people. We enjoyed, being in masterminds and coaching groups and all that kind of stuff, and helping people, and people would fly in and come in to see our office and stuff like that. And I always enjoyed helping people, but I didn't really have a formula for success depending on where you might be in your business. And until, I helped Mike with his business over that period of time. And so we both kind of got to a point where we thought we might want to open a brokerage together. And we started out with that, and we ended up opening a coaching company instead. And it really wasn't a coaching company. We actually ended up partnering with the website company that we were using for lead generation. And we took over sales for that company and started that business. And then one day they got sued, and then our check just didn't come. So this was like in 2007. It was pretty rough time as it was just in the business. It was, but we were trying to fund this new venture that we were really excited about, and we were making all these, and then all of a sudden we just didn't get paid. 90% revenue was coming from these website sales. And they just stopped paying us. And so we immediately shifted to coaching and offered coaching and put a product together around one-on-one coaching, hired a couple of coaches. And that, the rest is history. We built that company up to about 10 million a year in revenue. We partnered with a lot of technology along the way, a lot of different iterations kind of on that business model. And in 2017, somebody approached us. We had started a brokerage in 2016 in Dallas, and we were partnering with agents where we were basically, we went from coaching where we would tell you what to do, then you'd have to go back and implement it, to kind of just moving further down the value chain where we could do more of it for you. So that's why we created NAEA in 2011. It was a done for you listing presentation, buyer presentation, training for your agents, all the systems that you needed. And then we needed to, move further down the value chain. So then we started doing, the ads, running all the marketing for agents. And then we started, built a call center. And then because the agents would struggle with making the calls. So then we're like, all right, we're going to make all the calls for you. You just go get face-to-face. We're going to train you. You go get face-to-face. We're going to do all the marketing for you. We're going to do all the calling for you. And you just go get face-to-face. And we were partnering with agents in 2016. And we were in a couple of states. We were in Atlanta, all of Atlanta, all of Dallas, and also Houston, where we had partnered with agents, and we're partnering with agents in specific territories and just helping one agent kind of just crush it in one particular area. And that business model looked really good. I mean, we had a vision of, having 2,000 partners by December 27th, 2024. That was the vision. And then somebody showed me eXp. So that was the transition at that point.
No, I love it. And I kind of want to stop you there, and I want to kind of share with you, and I'm not sure if you remember this or whatever, but I guess you guys joined eXp back in 2017, right?
Yep. November.
Okay. Yep. November. That's right. And I think I hit you up October of 2017 on Facebook Messenger. And, I was kind of going through your profile. I was like, man, I got to hit this guy up. I was super excited. And I did the same with Brent Gove. Brent Gove was like, dude, I just joined eXp, man. Oh my God, you should have, hit me up a few months ago, whatever. I was like, oh man, I missed out on Brent Gove. I was like, I'm going to hit up Jay Kinder. Well, I hit up Jay Kinder, guys. And Jay Kinder's like, dude, I'm getting ready to join eXp, man, with one of my coaching students, Al Stasik, man. I'm so excited. I was like, damn it, but welcome to the family, man. It's like, It was always a day late. I was like, damn it, I missed out on Brent Gove. I missed out on Jay Kinder. I was like, damn it, But so let's tell the story about I know there's a funny story how I think you were at one of your kiddos' birthday parties, and Al was like, dude, you got to check out this company called eXp, and you're like on the phone like pacing or whatever, and you're getting ready to throw one of your kids a birthday party, and you're so engulfed in the conversation about eXp, and your head wasn't there at the birthday party. It was all about eXp, and you finally joined eXp. So kind of share that. Let's walk down that path about that phone call with you and Al about eXp, and then how you joined.
Yeah. So we had a mastermind, which was kind of our highest level coaching group. And it was, a lot of top people, they're all doing 200 or 300 or 400 deals a year. And they all had the same struggles. And it was always recruiting and retention for your team. And the thing was always trying to solve was like, how do we get an agent to never want to leave you? And so that was something that we had collectively been all working on. And, what kind of ownership can you give them? And what could you do to make them, never want to leave the team? And Al was like, Al had just lost 2 agents from his team to Keller Williams. It was the second time he had lost 2 of his top people. And, I had gone through that same thing myself with my team, just as most teams do. And he was just fed up with it. And so he was vetting out, and I didn't know it at the time. He was one of our coaches too. He's a good friend of mine, but at the time he was vetting out eXp, and I had been showed somebody that's not at eXp, another client, a good friend of mine, in Austin, Texas, number 1 agent in Austin, Texas, Chris Waters. He said, man, this looks a lot like what you guys are trying to do. And he sent it to me, and I watched the presentation, and I got pretty excited about it, but the timing wasn't right. And so I kind of put it on the back burner, didn't think about it. And then Al's vetting it, and he's like, dude, I'm thinking about doing this. I need you to poke holes in it and tell me if I'm missing something, if I'm crazy. And so, of course, that night before, it was the night before Riggs's 4th birthday. And I watched the video, and I'm like looking for the holes in it. Like there's, there's got to be something, right? I was looking for the gotcha. Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find one. And so the next day I'm supposed to be getting ready for Riggs's birthday party at our house in the country in Aubrey. And I'm on the phone for like 4 hours without talking about eXp. And like, this might be the best thing I've ever seen, dude. Like, this is really unbelievable. And I remember I could see my wife from out. I was out in the back, the backyard behind, kind of by the shop. And I could see her looking at me with her eyes, like, get your ass in here and help me with this shit. And, and I wasn't getting off the phone. I had caught the fever at that point. And there was, and I ended up going probably like the following, let's see if that was in August. Yeah, it would have been the eXp Con that was in, I think, Fort Lauderdale or somewhere in Florida. That following week or 2 or 3 later. And so I was like, all right, I got to go see this thing and meet these people and see if this thing's for real. And, I got to meet, all the leadership. I had known Brent Gove since 2001. We had been in a couple different coaching programs for us. So he kind of set up a few meetings with Jason Gessing, Vicky Bartholomew at the time, Glenn Sanford. And I, got to catch the vision for what they were wanting to build. And really, it was just a question of ego, right? Like, I knew we could build what we were going to build, or I could join eXp and I could do basically what I was trying to do. It was just a different way of being compensated. And it was just a better way. And that was the truth. And so, rather than try to go build something and compete, I put my ego aside and we joined eXp, and it was the best decision I ever made.
I love it. Now, I think there's a funny story behind that, because I think I remember hearing it at, one of the events or one of the parties, one of the vacations we've been on together, about how you ghosted Michael Reese. I think you guys were supposed to be at another meeting, and you ghosted Michael Reese, and you flew out there all by yourself to go check out and bet eXp without telling anybody.
I didn't even tell him, because Mike's a really good closer. So if I told Mike, he caught wind of this, he was not going to let me not go. And what happened was, we were at, I can't remember what event it was, but Jesse Itzler was on stage speaking. If you haven't followed Jesse Itzler, he wrote the book Living with the Seal, which was really the original book about David Goggins before anybody knew who David Goggins was. And it's a great book, by the way, Living with the Seal. If you like David Goggins, that book is kind of the story about how Jesse Itzler hired this Navy SEAL to come live with him and train him for like a month or 2 or something like that. Really good book. But anyways, Itzler was speaking, and he's selling it's called the Everest something climb, and it's not Mount Everest, but it's essentially this mountain in Vermont that you have to climb as many times as you would if you were to climb to the top of Mount Everest. And it's supposed to be one hell of a difficult challenge. And so I was about to turn 40, and so I said, I'm doing this for my 40th birthday. Well, Mike signed up and Woods signed up. And so I'm supposed to go to this deal, and they end up going. And the night before, I decided I was going to eXp Con, and I wasn't going to do it. I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to go to this event. And so I didn't tell Mike. I just didn't show up. I just didn't show up at the airport. And so he comes back, and we had a mastermind. Mike doesn't know anything at this point. And he doesn't know. He knows very little about eXp. He has no idea that I'm about to go all in with it. And so Mike comes back. He can barely walk. His feet are all messed up. And we had a mastermind that was the day that he got back. He got back the last day of the mastermind, and I've got Rob Flick there pitching eXp to everybody. So and Mike was like, he didn't know, he didn't know what the hell was going on. He just knew I didn't show up to that event, and I was going to the eXp Con. And then he comes back, and here we are sharing it with our entire top level people. And we went all in at that point. And a lot of folks came with us, and we just continued to beat the drum and really share the opportunity. I think that's still to this day, amazingly, I think most people don't know what eXp is. They think they know, but they generally just don't really know all the benefits of being partners with a group of people, and then all the benefits eXp has to offer. It's just, people have to do their own research, I think. And back then, they certainly had to do their research, because the first thing people would do back then was they would go look in the MLS, and there was not any agents that sold any real estate at eXp anywhere. Yep. Nobody had ever heard of it. And so there was a lot of convincing that had to be done, that it was, going to be the next big thing. But and so it was a lot harder, I think, the first 5 years than it has been the last couple of years. But certainly there's an educate and inform process that has to happen before people will, really see the light, so to speak. Right. It was the same for me.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So now, all right. So you guys joined eXp in November of 2017. I looked at the numbers the other day, and I'm number 17 in the company. I think you guys are way up there. You guys are like number 4 or 5 or so in the company. You've got a rev share group of over 9,000 agents at eXp. So let's kind of, and I want, this is really to help educate these agents. A lot of agents are on here that just joined eXp. There's a lot of agents on here that have been with eXp for a few years that are finally just wanting to start building a rev share organization to get that passive income. And then there's a lot of eXp agents, like myself, I got my team of over 5,200 agents. I wish I was at 9,000 agents. Hopefully I'll get there very soon. And so I want to just kind of motivate them to start, attracting agents. And so I know there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And so kind of just, share maybe just a few little nuggets of how you guys have been so successful, with attracting agents. I know you guys, have a big presence with NAEA in Dallas there. And so I know you guys, definitely have a lot of, influence in the real estate market there with other agents and stuff like that. But, for a typical agent, what would you tell them to do to kind of start building that rev share organization if they really don't have a big influence in real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and this was, recruiting to eXp was different than anything we had ever done. We'd sold products to real estate agents and things of that nature, but recruiting to eXp was completely different. And Rob Flick had some training that was shared with us, and I went through it and it all made sense. But for me, I being the stupid entrepreneur that I am, I had to overthink everything and try to go read every book and learn everything I can about, network marketing, because essentially it's the same principles. The same principles apply to recruiting to eXp. And so, I went through all of that stuff, and at the end of it, basically, it was everything Rob had already taught me. So it was, it was kind of funny to kind of come full circle that whole first year of really just trying to become just like we do with anything. Anything I've ever done that I've had any success with, I found whoever the best person in the world was, and I tried to learn from them. That's what I've always done. And we ended up, talking to a few different people, but the book Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers was by far the best overall system that we saw anybody had built. And so we followed that to the T. I mean, that's, if there's anything, if you want to be serious about agent attraction, you got to learn the process. And that book, Building an Empire, lays out the system, if you will. And it's really a lot simpler than what a lot of folks make it. If you find yourself talking to someone about eXp, you're probably doing it wrong. And it's really more about inviting them, learning how to get them excited, understand what their goals are, and inviting them to something that they can learn more. And so, the invitation is the key. If you can master inviting, then you can recruit to eXp. That's really the thing that I've seen the most success. A lot of folks might say, "Oh, well, you were so successful. You had a coaching business. You had all these people." But like what I see in my organization of people like Dan Hilsman, who was a $2 or $3 million producer for years and years. And if you met him, you would never say, "Oh, this guy's got to be a killer recruiter." It's not. But what he did was he followed that damn system to the T. So we built system and training around it. He invited, and then he used the 3-way call to close everybody. I did 150 3-way calls with Dan Hilsman. He has 1,000 people in his organization, and he's got. And with those 150 3-way calls, which was he invited them to take a look at the opportunity, which was the video. And then from there, he would get them on a 3-way call with me. I would answer their questions and help get them moved over. And I did those 3-way calls for, I still do them today, but I did them back to back for a long time, but it's because they were following the process. And that process was to learn to invite them to look at the opportunity, because most people haven't done their own due diligence. And they haven't watched a video that's really informative about eXp. And if there's a goal that somebody has in real estate and they haven't accomplished it, there's no question that if they're at eXp, they're going to make more money. They have the ability to get paid to be at eXp through the revenue share, meaning you don't pay us anything. I don't pay anything to eXp. I don't pay them a split. And that's part of the process is doing the math. You either know what you're paying. I knew what I was paying at Coldwell Banker. I went independent because I paid them over $100,000 and royalties and all that. And most agents are paying more to be somewhere else. They're not getting the technology and the tools and the training that they need to be more successful. So you save a lot of money there. And then you have all these mentors and people that are doing this training and stuff that can help them break through to the next level. And so, it's really about invite to the video, invite to a live presentation, or invite to a live event. That's it. That is recruiting the eXp. It's what I did. It's what everybody in our group has done. To be successful, you can over engineer a bunch of other ideas and ways to do it. but it really boils down to just learn how to invite someone to take a look at the opportunity.
Love it right there, guys. There you heard it right there from Jay Kinder himself right there, guys. Hey, just invite. And I remember what Brent Gove said, big decisions are made at big events, right? Big decisions are made at big events. And that's why Jay Kinder, went to, Fort Lauderdale to the shareholders event, because it was a big event, right? That's these are the events that corporate puts on, guys. And it's like a big party, right? Everybody's on fire. Everybody's excited. Everybody's, mingling and having cocktails and sharing success stories and, doing, testimonial, visits with, with their prospects. And it's just one big happy party and one big happy family, right? And so, guys, pick up the phone and call that biggest person that you're afraid to talk to, right? Show them the video. Right, show them the video. I still use the modelexplain.com, Brent Goes video, and then get them on the phone, with do a 3-way phone call. That's the exact same process that Jay's using. That's the exact same process that I use. And so, guys, that's the exact same process you guys need to be using right there. So I love it. And then also Building an Empire. That's a great book, guys. If you haven't read it, definitely read it. I have a lot of agents that have read it 2 or 3 times. And they give it out to their agents whenever they, recruit a big agent, a team leader or a broker. And say, hey, listen, welcome to the family. Here's this book. If you're ready to start growing, let's do this together. So that's awesome. And I know, man, you've got some big goals with, with your rev share. I know you're making some big rev share checks, every single month. I don't want to get into those numbers, just for, personal reasons. I know I don't want to put you on the spot and say, hey, what's your biggest rev share check? But I know some of them, because I know I've seen some screenshots of some of them, and damn. I thought I was making some good rev share. I know you guys are making some really good rev share, man. And kudos to you, man. Congratulations. You guys have definitely been working your ass off. So now let's kind of switch over to selling real estate. I know you've been very successful with selling real estate. I know you do a lot of open houses. You've done a lot of open houses. There's a lot of agents on here that are, for one, maybe let's talk about the market that has shifted. It's hopefully shifting back. I hear a lot of success stories of agents kind of out there in the field, multiple offers. Again, they're seeing multiple offers. Interest rates are finally starting to lower a little bit, which is great. Maybe let's give a few nuggets on, how to be a successful realtor, because agents are always coming to me, man, I need leads. And I'm telling them, do open houses, hit up KV Core and start, doing some campaigns and generating some free leads and, just do everything, right? You can't just put all your eggs in one basket, with one lead gen source. You've got to have 4 or 5 or 6 or 10, definitely to be successful. We've got over 130 agents on still right now. We've got about 15, 20 minutes or so, but let's talk about selling more real estate, because, this is a issue that these agents have, and I'm trying to help them solve these issues. And I really want to know, what you have to say about, helping these agents shift the market.
Yeah. So dude, I'm in the same boat, having those conversations every day as well. And, as and hopefully most everybody on this call knows, like the goal is, we recruit to eXp, but the goal is helping agents in production. Like that's what we really do. Right. And so our focus is always around how do we add more value to the group? How do we help agents get from point A to point B? And I subscribe to what I learned, and what helped me and what made my transition to really becoming a top agent was learning how to be a better marketer. And, the one of the reasons we love eXp, or loved it, at least originally when we saw that they provided a KV Core platform. From a coaching perspective, I can do a lot with you, and you don't have to go buy a technology to lead generate and to have a follow-up system and all that kind of stuff. And so what we do now, and I'll share the training we do. I do a live training on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it's I think the URL is winbeforeyoustart.com. And I break down the top 5 ads that we're running right now. And they're different than what we did 2 years ago. They're different than what we did a year ago. There's different strategies for different times, but it comes down to understanding, becoming a marketer, right? So like we all know real estate agents in our marketplace that sell more real estate than you, and they're not a better real estate agent than you, right? Like I know I'm a better real estate agent than that one, but they're selling more houses than me. And really what it boils down to is when, if you're on the real estate roller coaster where you have, 2 or 3 deals, that close, and then you have none the next month, then you got 2 or 3 and then none the next month. A lot of it's because there's nothing consistent or predictable that's happening. So I love open houses and I recommend, because you're gonna meet people, you're gonna pick up clients from doing them. It's one of the pillars, like you said. I think you want multiple pillars, but most agents that come to me when they're stuck, it's most of their business is sphere, repeat, or referral business. And you don't know 90 days from now when somebody's going to refer you or when you're going to get that business. So it's inconsistent, right? So it creates these ebbs and flows in your business. And until you commit to becoming a better marketer, and I'm not talking about paying Zillow and Realtor.com, forget that shit. Like that's not what you want to do. You're not in. I'm not a big fan of any of those lead providers. Number one, because they charge way too much money for something that you can learn how to do on your own. And so, I'm not a fan and never have been. I bought all that stuff in the past before, but if right now what we're doing with lead generation with the different ads and stuff that we're running, we've got a price reduced ad that's working really well. We have a new construction funnel that's killing it. Those are our two best ones. We've got a just listed for homes for markets where inventory is low. The just listed, and it's important that it has the IDX feed where when they click on the button, they get exactly what it is that you promised them in the ad. That builds trust. And so, all of these little things that I just know from spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing and lost money doing it the wrong way. We just learned how to do it the right way. And so because you have all the tools that you need, it's not that hard to put it all together and have a system that, that really with the automation in place, for instance, like with text messaging, like, there's an MIT study that shows if you call a lead within the first 5 minutes versus the first 30 minutes, you're 106 times more likely to make contact. That's a ridiculously big difference. Oh, yeah. So having an automated text message that goes out in the first 2 minutes while they're still looking at the properties from the ad that they just clicked on is going to get a tremendous bump in terms of people that reach back out to you and respond. And so like all these little things that are what we call like bottlenecks in a funnel. Like if I gave everybody 10,000 leads today, the first bottleneck would be is how am I going to call them all? Right. So, then the next step is, they click on the form, you're talking to them, you need to set an appointment, and maybe there's not enough hours in the day for you to work with all of them. Right. So like you got to figure out a way to get people through the funnel and all the way to a signed contract. Ideally, in my opinion, they would be signing a contract that they're going to have you represent them in the purchase of whatever they buy before you actually have them. That's what we train to do. I think that's for me. It's how I always worked. I don't like showing houses to people that aren't committed to working with me. So, and so that's what we teach. But either way, just having something that's consistently helping you close 3 to 5 deals every single month, one funnel can do that. And so, and if you do the math, I mean, the average commission is like $8 or $9 grand. In most markets, in some markets more than that. I mean, we're talking, $27,000 a month if you close 3 deals a month. That solves most everybody on this call's, problems as it relates to real estate. And I'm talking about with an ad spend of like $300, maybe $500, plus a lender will pay for it for you. So especially if they understand what you're doing that's different. We're generating leads right now at, on average about $2 a lead, $3 a lead, somewhere right in there, which is just ridiculously low. But, when the way most every other agent has to do it today is they got to pay somebody to help them with it. Then they got to pay for a platform cost. And so you got to average all that in. And so your cost per lead is $40, $50. You can't afford to do a lot of lead generation with the cost that high. So, that's a huge advantage you have at eXp with KV Core. I don't know how to do it. Braden, my son, does. He's a wizard when it comes to the funnels and the automation and all that setup and everything. And so, I understand the marketing strategy. He understands the conversion strategy, and we teach that stuff every, twice a week to the agents in our group because we want to help them to get into production.
I love it. So now, you said winbeforeyouStart.com. Is that correct? Win before you start.
Yeah, I think you can register for it at winbeforeyouStart.com, and you can just pick one of the days. I think it's a Tuesday night and a Thursday, like at 11 a.m. Central Time.
Okay, and is that okay? Can we hop on and
you can jump on? Yeah, you can jump on. Absolutely. Yeah, awesome. It's good. It's good content for sure.
I love it. All right, guys, there you go. WinbeforeyouStart.com. Definitely, everybody. I'm going to definitely go and do that and check it out. And I just answered a question. I think somebody was asking about what video do I send out to the agents, and I put it in there. TheModelExplained.com. That's the video that I use for the agent attraction. All right, so back to the lead gen, man. So that's awesome. So we're definitely crushing it. With the lead generation. And so any other nuggets, whatever, I think we want to open it up to some Q&A. Definitely respect everybody's time, but any other nuggets, that I kind of recommend, any agent or any new agent to kind of help them get their business off the ground, because that's what I deal with all the time. Definitely attracting a lot of agents, especially some of the new agents, helping them get their business off the ground, and that's kind of what keeps me up at night. Is like, golly, how do I get these agents, qualified and to open up my my 7th level and in rev share, and I want to keep feeding them business and help them out, and and help them solve their pain, which is selling more real estate, right? That's why they got their license, is to sell more real estate. And so any other nuggets that you can share?
I think going back to the agents that I've seen become successful, I've helped become successful. Like one of the things is being trained, right? Like you've either been if we're gonna be in the same room together and you're trained to disarm bombs, you've either been trained or you have not been trained. and I want to be in the room with someone who's been trained if you're disarming a bomb. And it's the same thing in real estate. Like you've either been trained and you know what to say and you have the scripts and you understand how to use those, or you haven't been trained. And so there's a ton of different training that's out there around scripts and dialogues and things of that nature. But it wasn't until I got the marbles out of my mouth that I started to become really skilled. And for me, FSBOs and expireds are the listing side of the business is the strategy that I always go to. It's easier to generate buyer opportunities than it is seller opportunities, but with FSBOs and expireds, they're free. They don't cost, there's zero lead cost with those. And we always use RedX as a great tool. It automatically gives you your FSBOs and your expireds every day, and just made those calls. And so I think I remember Braden made it when he got licensed. He was like 19 when he got licensed, and he started making his first calls to expireds, and he calls this expired, and he almost got the damn appointment. And while he was coming to me and trying to say, what should I have said next? This is what the guy said. Yeah. The guy calls him back and schedules the appointment. And it was his first damn call. I couldn't believe it. I said, I said, Braden, don't expect that to ever happen again because that never happened. And, but like, I just know that like, when if you're meeting with enough people that definitely want to buy or sell, you're going to end up selling some houses. And people that have expired they're already willing to pay a commission. They already had a house listed. They're behind their schedule, what they wanted. You just got to be able to make contact, get face to face with them and be able to articulate what you're going to do to help them. And so, that requires training. And so, you got to get trained. You need to be, you need to have skills. You need to have a value proposition of why people should hire you versus hiring somebody else. All this stuff is things that we train on, but it's, I think that's, you're not going to learn by not being on the phone with people. And so you're making those calls, doing some role playing. Is there a learning curve? Sure. Absolutely. But what's the upside? Financial freedom. I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely, man. Speaking of financial freedom, man, I can't stop looking at your background, the palm trees, swaying in the wind there. Beautiful, clear blue skies right there, man. I'm sure you got some big plans to do some fun stuff today there in Puerto Rico. I know you do. I know you're probably driving those golf carts on the golf course and having a few cocktails and all the stuff. Yeah.
Taking Riggs to his golfing practice today, so that's on the agenda for this afternoon.
There you go. All right, guys, we got a few questions here real quick. Let's open it up for some Q&A. Definitely respect everybody's time again, watching the clock here. So we got about 10 minutes or so. I see JJ has his hand up. JJ, unmute yourself and ask away, my friend.
Hey, Jay, how you doing, brother? Thank you so much for being with us. Hey, brother.
Yeah, man.
I saw one of your videos, man. I feel like you're the GOAT on this. Could you talk a little bit about retention? I feel like recruiting is really easy. Retention is very hard. Can you talk about your system on retention?
Yeah. So great point. So yeah, retention starts day one. So, I think that's a mindset that you have to have is how somebody is onboarded and plugged in is going to determine their success. So it starts with understanding what their A is and what their B is. They're currently at A, they're joining us for a reason, and that's to get to B. And so whatever that B is for them, whether it's production or it's agent attraction, it's making sure that they get plugged in and are able to get to the success that they want. And so with people that we bring on board, at least personally, I can't do this at scale for every person that joins our organization, but I definitely encourage it to everybody that's in our organization that wants to retain agents, because you want to get them onboarded. You want to get them plugged in. You want to get them using Workplace. You want to get them, completely onboarded to eXp and plugged into all the systems there, because there's a ton of leverage and training and things that can help them with that. So it doesn't have to be all you helping them every step of the way. That's part of the process. And then, for us, it's, finding out what it is that they need help with. If they need help with building funnels, then we'll go in and we'll build their funnels out. We'll set up their KV core. We'll do all of that for them. And so, I want people coming in, and I want to create success stories. I want somebody to come in and put a deal under contract in the first 2 weeks from some ad that we created for them, so I can tell that story and they can go tell that story. And so like, that's the mindset, is retention starts day one. And it's how they're onboarded and understanding their goals and actually giving a shit about it and actually trying to plug them in. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but you have to know where to plug them in. And that way that they're getting the things that they need, and that you don't have any lost sheep out there that are maybe struggling or don't know where to go for help and things of that nature. So we get them plugged into our group, we get them plugged into our trainings. All of our stuff is listed at honeybadgernation.com. That's our website for our group and whatnot, and the trainings that we have, and we plug people in where we feel like they need it. If they need scripts and dialogues training, we got a guy that does trainings every Thursday. Wally Bressler is one of the best. You can join those free trainings. So if they need help with funnel building, Braden does funnel days every Friday. They can jump in, they can learn how to do it from Braden, or we'll help them do it in some cases. But we have something for everyone. And there's really not a problem that you can have in real estate that unless you're doing 1,000 deals a year, which you probably don't have a whole lot of problems at that point. I've never done 1,000 deals a year, so I don't know how I could help you. But if you've done less than 500, I've ran into every problem you possibly can. And so, we just try to create something for everyone where they can plug in and make sure that they do it. Now, does everybody plug in? This is the unfortunate thing, is sometimes you got to, go to sleep at night knowing that you did everything you could to help somebody, and they didn't want to help themselves. And so there are people in my own front line that just never plugged into anything, and I don't expect them to be here long, but that's why I play offense. Not everybody's going to do it. I'm always playing offense. I'm always building systems for recruiting for myself. Just staying, and again, we're losing a lot of agents as the market has shifted, and that's pretty much normal. A lot of the agents that I've lost, I lost a couple of good agents too, that, I didn't think I was going to lose, but I don't lose sleep on that, because I'm always focused on doing everything I can to add value to everyone. And I'm always focused on recruiting. And so I'm always, there's not a day goes by that I'm not doing something, that's not in alignment with the goal, but you want to make sure that, that you do get them onboarded properly. I think that's the key to retention. And then, just make sure they're plugged into the weekly calls and the things of value, getting to events, inviting, that's a big part of, promotion for me, is getting people to whatever the next event we have that's coming up. Whatever for me right now, it's shareholders is the next event. So, getting my people, to dig in and come to those events and get surrounded with all the excellent things that happen at those events. It just, people don't go home from those events and leave eXp. I can tell you that. That's for sure.
Oh, that's great, man. Great question, JJ. Great answer, Jay. All right, next up, we've got my man Ian Flanagan. Ian's got a question for Jay Kinder. Go ahead, buddy. Unmute
What's
yourself.
up, Jay? Thanks for your time today, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you touched on this a moment ago, but something that I've heard you go into detail about over the years when you're doing presentations, either like this or in the world, is, can you walk us through your process of how you coach and train agents to develop their USP? So when they're walking into a listing presentation, they're armed with, will you kind of walk us through that process? Because yours is by far one of the best I've ever heard. Thank you.
So thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. Yeah. So this was something that I spent a long time working on. And, your USP is the reason, it's the reason why someone should do business versus doing business with somebody else. And so what we developed was, there's principles that are involved. Like if a seller came up to anybody on this call and said, "Hey man, why should I hire you and pay you 7% when your competitor that sells more houses than you will do it for 5%?" You better have a damn good answer to that question, or you're going to either do it for 5% or you're going to lose the deal, right? And so I had a competitor in my marketplace that was they were in the top 10 in the world for Remax. When I was selling 500 homes a year, they were selling 700 homes a year. I don't like to tell this story because it's proof that I wasn't even number one in my own marketplace. I wasn't number two. I was number two in the world, and I was also number two in my own market. I'm still pissed about it if you can't tell, but it forced me to have to compete with, and that's what they did. They would drop their panties every time I would go on an appointment. It pissed me off because I didn't know. I had to figure out how to beat them when I charged 7%. They would do it for 4% anytime they competed against me. And I competed with them all the time. And so I had to figure out a way to a process for how I got to the appointment, the information that I would gather, how I would establish kind of rapport, how I would establish authority. And then I needed a system to make the value more visible for what it is that we do versus what other agents do. And so we created that at NAEA, and there's a certification that we do around it. And it's for us, it was we have a proven, repeatable system backed by market research to sell homes for up to 18% more than the methods of traditional real estate agents. Would you like for me to show you how we do that? And if you can just get the marbles out of your mouth and just say that one thing, it makes a big difference in the conversation. But it sometimes takes a little while to get the marbles out of your mouth. But it really boils down to like there's all these there's principles involved in the job that we do, and nobody ever really broke this stuff down. And it took me almost 1.5 years to do it because I didn't even know some of the things that I was doing or why I was doing them. But then I had to kind of put it into a one-page presentation that I could teach anybody that they could follow, and they could give a presentation in 15 minutes. And it would make sense to the person on the other side of that, okay, you guys have a process for how you sell homes for the most amount of money. Most agents don't have a process. They do their dog and pony show, and they talk about this and they talk about themselves and this, that, and the other. We have a system, we have a process. And so we train to this process, and anybody can go to that training, by the way. You can go to naea.com, or you can go to, I think the upcoming events aren't listed because we just had our events meeting this year, but we're going to do a virtual one this year in June where we do these trainings. You get the designations, and then you get the actual listing and buyer presentations and all the marketing that goes around it, because you're now an expert advisor, a certified home selling advisor. We do all of this for reasons, right? Like it's positioning, right? So if you say you're great, it's one thing. If somebody else says you're great, it's way better, right? And so by being a certified home selling advisor using this presentation, now it's all built in. We knew that this was a problem that every agent that came to us for coaching had. So we built a system for how to make it done for them. So when they joined NAEA, that's what they would get. And so, I think it's critical, honestly. I mean, you can make all the calls you want, but like, it wasn't until, in the beginning, it wasn't until I met Roger Butcher and he had something that I didn't have. And that was a 30-day marketing plan. And it had a list of bullets of all these things. At least I had something when I went in and talked to the seller that I could say, here's what we do. We have this 30-day marketing plan. And I would talk about all the things we did. And that helped me win some listings. And so then I knew, it was like, all right, the better I get at figuring out how to articulate my value to somebody, the more likely I'm going to win the listing. And so, we iterated on that for, years and years and years and years and years. And that's what we do now. So that for us, there's basically 7 laws on the listing side that we go into. One of them is expert advice. The other one is the law of differentiation, how we differentiate a house. We talk about, the statistics of, a house being staged versus not staged. What could sell just that one thing could be the difference in it selling for 18.6% more, according to whatever, I can't remember which study it was or whatever, but there's all these things, right? And that we just showed them all the principles. And then along the way we say, do you see how that could help you sell for an additional 3 to 5% more? And they say, yes. And they say, yes, 7 times. And so the up to 18% more, there's a top of the market, middle of the market, and bottom of the market. And there's 115 variables involved in the home selling process. It's how we manage these variables. It's going to determine whether you attract a high offer or you attract a low offer. All of this shit just makes sense to a seller. And when another agent comes in telling them how great they are, talking about all this other stuff, and they don't show them, they have an actual system and a process that they follow to maximize their home's value. There's just a defining gap between you and everybody else when you've been trained on it. And so, yeah, so the USP, there's other USPs we've used in the past, but that's the one that we stick with the most because it's really what the seller wants. The seller wants more than anything. We used to do the guaranteed sale and some of that kind of stuff. And it's good. Now the cash offer, we can all make cash offer, now because of eXp and the express offers and all of that, which is a great hook. It's a great hook, but not everybody's going to take that cash offer. So you really want a value proposition that you can deliver on, so that when they become a testimonial, they say, yeah, this is what he promised, this is what he did, and this was the result we got, right? And so you want it to all kind of flow together so that their experience is the same as what the original promise was. And that's what I didn't like about the guaranteed sale, was because they would call me about the guaranteed sale, but I wouldn't buy the house. And so, I would end up selling the house, but that, there's a misalignment in the message to the market versus the actual result that they get. And so that's why we kind of shifted things to what we do now.
Wow, man. Powerful. Great question, Ian. Great answer, Jay. That was man, that's awesome. Good nuggets here, guys. Great nuggets. All right, guys, we got time for about one more question or so. Who wants to ask a question to Jay Kinder real quick, and then we'll definitely wrap up this call. Who's got a question here? And don't be shy, guys. We still have 125 of you guys on. Great call today. And yes, guys, this is being recorded. My phone's blowing up going, oh my God, great call today.
I will. I'll ask a question.
Yeah, who's the
It's Tracy. Tracy up here in Colorado. My question is, can you give us an invite script?
An invite script? Yeah. So, so the script that we use, actually, I got this out of a different book. It was called, it's Eric Worre, Roworre. And by the way, you'll notice that I usually find things through reading books or people that have come before me, right? So like I don't create any of this stuff. So Eric Worre has a book called GoPro. It's a very short read. You can download it for free if you Google it and find the PDF. And he's got a little invitation script in there, and it starts with just paying a sincere compliment. So if I was talking to an agent and I would hope I know a little bit about their business, be like, hey, hey, Tracy, I really, have been admiring your business. I've seen that you've been, really doing a great job. And, as an agent, I really respect the business you do. And I have a question, what's, tell me what, what's the goal? What do you want? What's the vision for your business? And I'm going to ask a question and I'm going to shut up. And so, you paying a sincere compliment, and then asking a question about their business. And then the more they tell me about what they're trying to accomplish, I'm just looking for some reason to invite them. That's all I need, is give me something that I can use to invite you. Man, I'm glad you said that. You know what? I've got an amazing video that I think you would be blown away. If that's your goal, if you're trying to go from here to here and that's your vision, I think I can help you. I got a video. If I send it to you, would you watch it? And so that, there's actually in this script, there's 3 points that it's called the triple commit. Say, if I sent you a video that was show you exactly how to get to where you're wanting to go, would you watch it? And they say, yes. They say, okay, when could you watch it by? Now that's a second commitment. Now you got to wait for them to answer because they got to give you their time. That means they're thinking about it themselves. Okay, I got this going on. All right, well, I can do it by Friday. Okay. So if I called you on Saturday, you would have for sure called it by then, watched it by then. So that's they committed to doing it 3 times. The biggest problem every one of us have, and every one of us have all had, is getting someone to watch the damn video. Right. But this triple commit, getting them to say yes 3 times, improved like 10x my number of people that actually would watch the video. And so because we send it using, BombBomb or whatever you may be using, you can track whether somebody watches or not. You know who to follow up with, the ones that watch the video. And so that's what I would do. I'd pay a sincere compliment. I'd ask them about their business, what they're trying to do. Hey man, tell me what you're trying to do. Coach Burt has one of his great little questions. Be like, hey man, tell me your goal, man. What are you trying to do? Everybody's trying to do something, and let them talk, let them tell you what they're trying to do. And a lot of times they'll tell you, if you're just admiring them, pay them a compliment, sincere compliment, and then tell me more about what you're trying to do. And they'll tell you because everybody's trying to do something. And then you just tie that back to, I think this would really help you. If I sent it to you, would you watch it? Okay, when could you watch it by? Okay, and so if I called you on Saturday, you would have for sure watched it by then. Okay, cool. I'm going to send it to you. I can't wait. You're not going to be able to sleep tonight. I promise you, it's going to be amazing. That like just being enthusiastic and enthusiasm sells. So like that's been the key to getting people to take a look at the opportunity.
Love it. That's so true, man. Guys, be excited, right? Be excited. People, they're going to notice your excitement, man. And I'll tell you what, man, Jay, you absolutely crush it. Perfect timing. We're at the top of the hour. Guys, Jay is the real deal, man. I've spent 5 days masterminding together in, on beach vacations there in St. Thomas, man. We've had a lot of fun. We've been able to set goals together, have fun together, take some shots together, all that good stuff. And man, he's the real deal, guys. And he's here to help, guys. He's opening up the playbook. He's pulling the curtains behind to guys help you be successful, right? And he's been gracious enough to spend an hour this Friday with us. He's not even on my RevShow organization. I'm not in his, but that doesn't matter. We're all here to help each other win and win big. And so, Jay, I just wanted to say, man, thanks so much for your friendship. Thanks so much for your time. I love your drive, man. I love your enthusiasm. I love what you're doing. I just love hanging out with you. And you definitely inspire me. You inspire a lot of others as well, too. So definitely keep it up, man. This is, yep. Yeah, look, man, this is being recorded, Jay. As soon as I get it over from Ian, I'll send it over to you so you can definitely share in your group as well, too. All right, guys, go out. Have a good time. Happy Friday. Love you guys. We'll see you back here next Friday. Thanks, Jay.
Later, man.
But all right, bye, guys.